Hong Kong's police spokesman warns the city has been pushed to the brink of a total breakdown.
This comes as we're monitoring a protest happening right now at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. On Tuesday, tensions flared between police and protesters at the school, with police firing tear gas as protesters threw petrol bombs, causing this car, as you can see there, to go up in flames.
The turmoil is now in its 6th month. CNN's Paula Hancocks joins us from Hong Kong. Paula, what are you expecting today? Is it going to be more of what we saw Tuesday and Monday?
Well, Cyril and Isa, it could be something slightly different. We're seeing something different here at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. This is where the worst violence was on Tuesday, and you can see they've really dug in. They have a fire down here next to a petrol station where they are siphoning off some of the petrol in order to make petrol bombs. We've seen boxes of petrol bombs that are ready to go. They have this massive barricade as well, which they have said as soon as they have the police come anywhere near, they're going to set fire to that to keep them at bay. There's a couple of destroyed cars within that as well, just to give you a sense of the scale of it. And you can see people are really being able to stockpile things. There's a stockpile of food. There's a stockpile of water. You can see here they even have a lookout to make sure whether or not there's going to be any police that are coming. This particular man has bow and arrows that he has ready for the police. We've seen javelins. We've seen all sorts of ordnance. But this was really an interesting thing to walk through this morning to see just how organized they are. I haven't seen this level of organization when it comes to this protest in the 5 months that I've been covering it. There really is a supply chain to make sure that everybody is here, and it seems as though they have dug in here for the long haul. Now, Tuesday, you saw some incredibly intense fighting here on this bridge. The police eventually, after many hours, pulling back and retreating, but there was a huge amount of petrol bombs from the protesters, tear gas, rubber bullets, sponge bullets from the police, and certainly you can see plenty of remnants of that on the ground. So this really does seem to have become a flashpoint for this protest. There are thousands of protesters here. Many of them are students, not all students from this particular university, but they seem to have this as a gathering point now, digging in and waiting for the police. There's no sign of the police at this point, except for maybe a police car down the road. You can see they've actually managed to close off the highway as well. There were some things being dropped from this bridge onto the highway, so cars have been sitting there for some time. They don't seem to be going anywhere. There's also a train nearby as well that's been derailed. So certainly there is a sense that this particular area could be some kind of a turning point. The fact that they are making this, at least some of these protesters, their base.
Paula, you were saying you haven't seen this level of organisation with the protests in Hong Kong. Who's leading these protests? Is there a body, is there a person who is controlling, who is leading, who's calling for these protests to be organised?
Well, that's the unique nature of these protests. It isn't just one leader. It isn't a leadership group even that's making sure that all this is happening. Much of this is organised on social media. It's organised online. It's fairly democratic when they decide where they're going to protest, and they take votes on where they're going to protest. But you can see, I mean, they have trolleys full of food, and people are coming to get their breakfast. There is certainly a support chain behind this. There is a huge amount further up of food, of drinks, of everything you could possibly have. We're hearing that the gymnasium within this university has been turned into an infirmary, some saying that there were a number of injuries overnight, so clearly they had to have some area that they could cope with those injuries. If you just come up here a little bit further. So there is definitely a sense that this is going to be a base for some time, and they are digging in for the long haul, we're being told.